Well, welcome back, everyone. Today, I'd like to talk a little bit about relationships, as relationships are a very big part of most people's lives. And they can either be the source of great pleasure and happiness or the source of a lot of pain and misery. So, and I want to focus more on, let's say, the love relationships, the couple, the intimate relationships, if you wish. Because I think that's where most lessons are hidden and where a lot of this either pleasure or misery can be detected. For example, what I mean by this, your relationship, for example, with your children, I think it's more clear cut, okay? You love your children. You love your children. It's the most altruistic form of love. At least that's the way I see it. And so on and so on. Your friends, it's more of a clear-cut relationship. People you know, your family. Now, I'm not saying that problems don't exist, but these are relationships that don't involve being in love. Okay? It's a clear love relationship. And what I mean by this, there's a difference between love and being in love. And we've talked about this in other videos, but I'd like to say it again. It's very important to have this distinction. Love is where it's a very pure feeling, emotion. It's when you give everything and expect nothing in return. Okay, and that's why I said your relationship as a parent with your children probably reflects this form of love the best. However, being in love is a very selfish feeling. It's the ego. Being in love is a desire. And when we desire, we want that we desire for ourselves, no one else. And also, once we have it, we want to keep it for as long as that desire exists. So as you can see, the feelings of love and being in love are very different. Now, relationships, like I said, are a source of many lessons. I'm sure everyone maybe not everyone, but most of us have the thought has passed through our minds, why do I keep attracting the same quality of partners? And we don't mean that in a good way. And so I would like for a moment to turn that question around and say, well, why are you attracted to the same kind of people? Why am I attracted to the same kind of people? These people that obviously when we get into a relationship with them, there's a lot of pain, hurt, and so on and so on. Now, they were this kind of person before we got into a relationship with them. And they had these characteristics. They didn't become like this after. So they weren't good, and then all of a sudden they became bad, so to speak. Well, what is bad and good? It simply means that we have different views, different ways of perceiving things, different expectations from relationships. We want different things. Okay? I'm not talking about extremes here. Okay? I'm not talking about abusive behaviors that should not be tolerated. But even then, we see And I've had this discussion with women. And women have told me that it's just unbelievable how certain women keep being attracted to the same quality of men that will abuse them. Why? I mean, think about it. How is it? How is that possible? So, these things are very important. Everything outside, everything out in our world is simply a reflection of who we are within. Everything is frequency, energy. Okay, so whatever frequency we are, we emit. That's what we are going to draw to ourselves. On some level, we are emitting on that negative frequency. We are that negative frequency. Our ego, our character, our personality is full of negative elementals. They may have come from previous lifetimes, remember, okay? We bring lessons and elementals from previous lifetimes. And so we are called upon, we carry all these in our subconscious. And these elementals, what is the purpose of elementals? To manifest themselves. So if we have brought these elementals, or we have created new negative ones, what is their purpose? To manifest themselves. So they will go out and they will bring to us what they are. In this case, individuals of these negative attributes that will abuse us, treat us bad, and so on and so on. This is the ego. All right? Now, falling in love. Now, that's not a bad thing, okay? It's, falling in love, everyone celebrates love and being in love. There are different levels though. Okay, what are you falling in love with? What is this desire for? So when you meet another person and say, I'm falling in love with them, what is it exactly that we have fallen in love with? The physical appearance, who they are as a person. How do we know who they are as a person? That takes time. So, and this is the trap, I believe, because people tend to fall in love very quickly with the physical appearance. And on whichever way you see it, it's less than ideal. It should only be the first step. Okay, physical appearance is attractive, whatever attractive means to us. We fall in love with the physical appearance of a human being. But what about the inside? So Socrates used to say, a person should fall in love with the soul, with the heart, with the personality of the other human being, not just the exterior. He used to advise handsome individuals to be worthy of their beauty, which of course meant the character, their personality had to match the exterior. So, and that is another big source of pain and hurt, because we allow that desire to overtake us. I mean, I've had friends, one in particular, who asked me when we were in our early 20s, and he said, John, when you make love with a girl, are you disgusted by them the next morning when you wake up to them? True story. And when he asked me that, I was sort of dumbfounded, because personally I haven't felt that. And in all honesty, I didn't know what to answer, because here's the thing, I could see that he was genuinely concerned. Why did he feel that? He just made love to an individual. Why would he feel that? And I just said to him a plain, dry no, and left it at that. Well, that didn't do much good. That wasn't much of an insight. It took me many years to understand that what my friend felt is actually very common. And it took me a number of years to understand why. And the why is because we fall in love with desire, the body. We know nothing of the personality. We know nothing of the person within. We have not fallen in love with a person within. And once our desire for the body has been fulfilled through the act of making love, what is there? Nothing. The desire has been fulfilled, and you see that individual next to you and you're thinking, what am I doing here? Is that the way it should be? I think there should be, and there is a lot more than that. However, by identifying these things, we can take steps to live a more fulfilling love life. To not fall prey to our own desires just because we saw someone that we were attracted to physically. Now, if that's what you want to do, by all means, if that's what makes you happy, off you go. I'm talking about the people who, like my friend, were concerned. Why? Or most people get hurt from these relationships. Why? Well, this is the why. We don't know these individuals. We don't know their personalities. So what do we fall in love with? And this desire, remember, we need to remember that this desire is a selfish one. Okay? Being in love is selfish. Eros, the god of love, is the greatest selfish individual. He wants everything for himself. That is being in love. Now, love, that is different. And you can love yourself and you can love every other human being. Why is love important? Because if you love yourself, will you fall prey to your desires? If you love every other human being, will you fall prey to your desires? From the word go, because someone is physically attractive. I don't think so. In a relationship, in an intimate relationship, I believe that both these feelings need to exist. So you need to both love and be in love with your partner. And we see, again, a lot of problems exist because only one form exists. Either we are in love with a person, but we don't really love them, or we love them, but we're not really in love with them. How many times have we seen individuals say, I love them, but I'm not in love with them? So what do? They go and sleep with others. Now, they love their partner, but they're not in love with them. Now, that is true. Some might say this is hypocritical, it's nonsense. It's true. It exists. I have a number of friends and acquaintances that we've spoken, and many, many, many years in marriages, that because they were hurt from a previous relationship. They married someone who they loved, and they could see that they actually loved them and they were in love with them. But they were not truly in love with them. And so they go through decades of marriage or a relationship. And the point comes where this will surface. There is no way that this will not surface. And they will look. We look for that it's missing. Hence the source of pain and misery. Ideally also, I believe that love should be greater than our feeling of being in love. Because like I said, being in love is a selfish emotion, a desire, which leads to other things. It can lead to jealousy, envy, attachment, possession, we being possessive over the other person. Now this is where love comes in. When you love and your love is greater than being in love, you do not allow yourself these negative elementals and emotions, because that is love. And this is the ideal. This is what we should all be aspiring to. Now, is it easy? No, I'm not saying that it's easy. But why isn't it easy for starters? I believe it's not easy because, like I said, everything begins and ends with us. So we sort of say, this is who we are, this is what we want, and let the other person change, or whatever the case might be. Or we don't want to do the work. We don't acknowledge that we have work to do. And when I say work, I mean correct our negative elementals and replace them with positive ones. If we accept the other person, if we truly love them, not just being in love with them, things automatically. Love means accepting, means detachment. Okay, so you allow the other person to flourish, to live their life. You do not try to make them, to change them. We cannot change someone. We cannot change another human being as much as we want. Why do we think we have the right to change another human being? It is their free will, if they want to change or not. Our free will is, can we live with that or not? And if you can, well, accept it. Love it. Our teacher used to say, you need to love what you hate. You need to love what you hate. Otherwise, you will never overcome it. You will never be able to evolve from that. Big words. Yeah. When we say, this is where love, this is where our previous video we were talking about, love your enemy, turn the other cheek. This is what this means. Okay, because when you love, it doesn't affect you. Now, I'm not saying accept abusive behavior. What I'm saying is understand what love means and how to act from a point of view of love. And if the other individual, their way of life, what they want, isn't congruent with what you want, it is up to you not to change them. Of course, you can talk, communicate, but at the end, we both have free will. So we both have the right to choose the way of life we want. Our right is to choose the way of life we want to live. And we can either accept that, or the other person's way of life, is or not, and we move on. There's no need for abusive behavior. Then there's no need for obscenities. There's no need for hatred and anger and bitterness and jealousy and envy and all these things. They're not doing anything. They're harming you. They're harming us. This is where love comes in. It's not an easy subject. It could take us a lifetime to learn these lessons. But it is the only way that we will be able to attract a human being as our partner that will fulfill us, that will give us that happiness that we all want, to live a happy and fulfilling life with another human being. Love is the answer, as long as we understand what love is. And with this, my friends, I'll let you go. This was another sort of long one. If you have any comments or questions, if there's something that you want to ask within the parameters of personal development and spirituality, by all means, write a comment. Until the next one, I wish you all well. Have a good one. Bye-bye.